Love by Eleanor. Love makes the world go round. If we only have love, I love you, you love me. We're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? Love is something special, a small warm feeling inside, a desire to be good, to do things for others, to care. It is something we can't live without. It is a reason to go on. It gives us hope. It comforts us. It lets us accept ourselves and others. Love lives in our hearts.
I wrote this very quickly yesterday. I didn't give it a title, and I haven't quite finished it, but it's coming the way it is. We had met friends in the men's clothing store, and somehow I told them I was going to have an operation on my thyroid. My friend said, "Is it cancer?" And my husband told her, "We don't know anything yet." We left and got our car to drive home, into our car. I said, "Leon, what if it is cancer?" He looked straight ahead and said, "If it is, we'll go through it together." I opened my eyes and had trouble focusing. I had trouble breathing and found out I had a very large tube coming out of my mouth. I saw Leon sitting in a chair near the side of the bed. I blinked. He looked at least 10 years older. He looked at me and tried to smile. I didn't think, "I'm glad to be alive." I thought how glad I was that this caring man was my husband, who in his quiet way always had my back.
It's called Love Is. Love is vague. It's ours to make. It shouldn't ache. It should be there to cherish and awake. Lofty feelings to enjoy, to mainly give and in turn receive, to overlook any negatives and find the positives, to be patient and accepting without looking for perfection. It can be sweet and wonderful. So be aware and make it beautiful. Make love your goal for everyone. And don't let it get old.
This is a very sensitive story. It's just a few years ago, like maybe 50. And I was a go-go dancer. And my boyfriend came with his group of friends to watch us all dance. And we were on the stage with a band, and we were dancing. And then the dancing finished for a little bit, and I came down to say hello to everybody. And my boyfriend was asleep. True love.
I took a poem by Mary Oliver and I added to it. I added to it, subtracted from it. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves.
So this is the flip side of love poems. And this is called White Buttons by Mary Ruth Flagg. Having been blown away by a book, I am in the gutter, at the end of the street, in little pieces, like the alphabet. Also at the end of the street, there is a magnolia tree, the white kind, that tatters after its blooms. So the tree winds up in the street. Our naked, shivering bodies must be at some distance, missing us.
This is Fran Harris. This is a poem by Robert Burns, the last half of the 18th century, A Red, Red Rose. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, that I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my love, and the rocks melt with the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life have run. And fare thee well, my own true love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 miles.
This is a monologue from the movie Little Women, and the character is Jo, who aspires to be a writer. And in this little piece, you can hear her thinking about who she wants to be as a woman and all the different aspects of life as a woman. Women, they have minds and they have souls, as well as just hearts. And they've got ambition and they've got talent, as well as just beauty. And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it. But I'm so lonely.
I'd like to read a short poem by Oscar Wilde that was written a long time ago, and I really relate to it. Men always want to be a woman's first love. Women like to be a man's last romance.
My name is Helene, and I wrote this piece in August of 2020. It was introduced to the Alliance Stage Company and its director, Mr. Corey Michael Herman, on September 11th, 2020. It's called Voices in the Dark. The only light in the room peeks through the closed blinds. We lie next to one another, skin touching along outstretched bodies. No frenetic grasps of passion, just a gentle release of the tensions of the daylight hours, floating to the outer reaches of the room as we recount to each other the trials and tribulations of the outside world. A head resting gently on a shoulder, a hand stroking a bare chest, an arm wrapped around a waist. A wish, a dream, a funny story. These and you are all I need. A sliver of light peeks through the blinds, voices in the dark.
I just call this Thoughts on Love. The first few lines are lines that I've written, and then I have two very short lines, short pieces from two different writers. So these are my thoughts on love. Love is the most serious responsibility of all. It's a big risk, but I found that it's been a risk worth taking. And personally, I have found that I haven't fallen in love as much as grown from and into love. And those were my thoughts on my personal feelings on love. The two selections that I picked I like are, one is from The Little Prince, and that is that love does not consist in gazing at each other, but rather in looking outward together in the same direction. And the next selection is one of my favorites from Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And that goes along with my personal thinking and feelings about why it's the most serious responsibility of all. Thank you.
This is a song from Dear World. He not only writes great music, he writes great lyrics. So I'm just going to read one of the lyrics to one of my favorite songs. It's called Memories. I remember Claude. His face was gaunt. His skin was pale. His bony little fingers so delicate and frail. Yes, I remember Claude in every intimate detail, but I remember absolutely nothing about my husband. And I remember George. His voice was deep and insincere, his hot and heavy breathing, and his fluid in the sensuous leer, the passionate obscenities he's whispered in my ears. But I remember absolutely nothing about my husband.
This one is an old one by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. A lot of us might have heard it, but it is a good one. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. Most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Hi, I'm Aree. If you don't you don't love yourself, nobody there to nearby you.
Many years ago, my grandfather was at his last stages of life. He was dying out of, not an illness, but of age. And I was with him, and we were very close, and we were speaking. And then he started crying. I saw tears coming. I said, Grandpa, why are you crying? And he said, I'm crying out of love. He said, this family had so much love. And I said to him, I says, Grandpa, you went from a horse and buggy to the moon, and you saw everything in between that. And at this time in your life, when you could cry out of love, you've reached nirvana. So they were the tears of love and joy. I experienced that with him.
First of all, I must say that I wrote this before I heard the other people. And I thought I would just talk about the love of my life, my boyfriend and my husband. So I wrote this. I met Ernest when I was about 15 years old. He became my boyfriend. And then we went together, and at the proper time, we married. And together for 66 years. We had 3 children whom we loved. And I must say, I have a great love for family. I had 3 wonderful sisters and a wonderful husband and family. It's just, they say it's wonderful that I live so long. And it is true that I'm living a long time. But the longer I live, the more I miss those that I love. But I love them anyway. Thank you.
I'm Sarie, and I'm going to read the lyrics of a song that I think is one of the most romantic and simplest songs. So this is called The Nearness of You, written by Hoagie Carmichael with the lyrics by Ned Washington. The nearness of you. It's not the pale moon that excites me, that thrills and delights me. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. It isn't your sweet conversation that brings this sensation. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you. When you're in my arms and I feel you so close to me, all my wildest dreams come true. I need no soft lights to enchant me, if you'll only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight and to feel in the night the nearness of you.
Okay, this is going to be an ode, one of the odes that Pablo Neruda wrote with much, I guess you would say, love in his heart. Ode to socks, ode to watermelons, ode to a million things, and this is ode to salt. I saw the salt in this shaker, in the salt flats. I know you will never believe me, but it sings. The salt sings, the hide of the salt plains. It sings through a mouth smothered by earth. I shuddered in those deep solitudes when I heard the voice of the salt. Near Antofagasta, the entire salt plain speaks. It is a broken voice, a song full of grief. Then in its own minds, rock salt, a mountain of buried light, a cathedral through which light passes, crystal of the sea, abandoned by the waves. And then on every table on this earth, salt, your nimble body pouring out the vigorous light over our foods, preserver of the stores of the ancient ships. You were an explorer in the ocean, substance going first over the unknown, barely open roots of the sea foam, dust of the sea. The tongue receives a kiss of the night sea from you. Taste recognizes the ocean in each salted morsel. And therefore the smallest, the tiniest wave of the shaker brings home to us not only your domestic whiteness, but the inward flavor of the infinite. Ode to Salt.